so this is the inaugural video for the other channel that I was talking about. And so this channel exists because I feel like I want to keep all of the fun stuff that I do on the other channel, and then this can be where I actually talk with no sarcasm. So I've been told that I'm sarcastic, and so I'm gonna just separate them out. This is my idea. So the name of this channel, A as in one person, just me. And as for now, I don't know. As of today, it's just me unless somebody else can relate, and then they decide that they also want to identify as such. Neo as in new. It's been silenced because this actually has existed before, but it was silenced and it was ignored, forgotten, attempted to be broken, and now it's back and ready to work. Nubian is because, because I'm black. It's golden skinned people, and it's from the African continent that I like, and I would at some point before I leave this earth, I'm gonna visit. Oh yeah, so before we go forward, I'm not going to debate cursed tribes or any of that. I don't care. Not that I don't care about the curses, but I mean, you don't have to stay cursed because there's a way to make amends. And then two, I don't know which one. I'm just gonna put it out there. I haven't researched into that, and I don't care. I chose. There's other. Yes, I know it's other things that can delineate people. I chose this one, and I'm not letting y'all call me a slave this year. I like that can be the name of a movement. Like that could be the name of what y'all are using to justify getting the reparations or whatever. But that's not gonna be my name. That's not going to be my identity, because I mean that's just one specific slice in black history. It's slavery. It's just one. We existed before and we exist again now, whenever y'all decide to stop paying attention to it. So you can title the movement whatever you want to title. That's not what this is in opposition to. I think that should go towards legislation though, not towards humanity. I just don't want that to be my name, okay? Yes, I still expect and deserve a check if y'all get one. And I'm just gonna put it out there. One, I think I should hold it. I think I should hold it because I have some ideas about what we're gonna do with the money and what reparations should mean. But, and two, I trust me. I don't know y'all. I wanna hold my own money, and then I'll hold yours good, and y'all should trust me too. But that's for a later date. On this channel, I'm defining and expressing my own personal beliefs and values. I'm not initiating a movement. I'm not. And the hope from my perspective, one, that black people are going to start participating in these discussions. And yes, they are. They are participating on other channels. But I have a slight thing that's different, which is what nuance means. I just basically translated the name of the channel into what exactly I plan on doing. But in case you need explanation, right? I want black people to feel that we have self-worth. I want us to feel like demonstrating high and accurate self-esteem. What are we actually good at, and what can we feel good about ourselves for? We can reduce confusion. We can reduce maladaptive choices, maladaptive behaviors. We can garner understanding and respect and support for our objections to the stuff that is happening, and we can get that out of other people who aren't black. They also are going to need to start making room for our existence. Scoot over, make some space. Here's to a mutual beginning of knowledge and acceptance. That's my hope. So on this channel, it's going to be 4 characteristics of every discussion when I remember it, right? So the first one is research. These are things that are important, but they've been overlooked in our community. We don't really pay attention to these 4 things. So the first one is research. Research is important because it's used as proof. The surveys, the census, things like that. I mean, yes, they are documenting things. Yes, we have had a bad history in this country of things being documented on our behalf, but I think we have to still do it. It's important because you can't come back from hiding easily. So if we don't get counted, if we don't get heard, we're basically like hiding in the closet. And has that ever been an easy thing to do, to come out of the closet? It's never been easy or fun to do. So why even go in there? Essentially, it tells people that you don't matter if you don't participate in the research. You don't get a say so. You don't get a voice. Everything that's already decided is just adapted to you with the hope that it'll be okay. So we need to learn how to read research. It's out there, and we shouldn't always have to just rely on like a few people. Yes, I know you're busy, you have lives, but those people do as well, and they're taking time out of their day to read something to you. And I feel that if you're going to come at them and ask questions, then you need to have read the article, and you need to know what you're reading. It can be confusing. It's a lot of statistics, it's a lot of variables when you're reading a research paper, but it's worth it. Once you get the hang of it, it gets easier. So don't overlook that. You don't get to complain. You're essentially dead as far as anybody else can tell. So then when you come back from hiding, you have to start trying to yell and try to convince people, which we're already doing now. So let's not do that and keep going forward with it. So, and also the other thing about research is, if you have to question it, did you do your own? You know that's the thing. You can peer review articles. If you're in that field and you understand what they're doing, you could look at it, try to replicate it, and then you get to prove people wrong. It happens all of the time. A lot of people have problems with research that we see because they feel like it doesn't, it's not relevant to Black people. And I get that. But if we're going to change it, then you have to do one yourself as well. If they don't include us in their research, and if you don't want to fight to be included in their research anymore, then let's just do our own. Second, debate skills. Everybody needs to know debate skills, because it's how you convince people of stuff. It's the skill. It's literally a skill of expressing, educating, or convincing somebody of something. If what happens if you don't do it appropriately, that's when you get irritation. That's where things escalate to physical. It's not, and then it doesn't get your point across. So it's for nothing. It's a waste of time. You have to first know your audience, and then you have to tailor the relevant information of what you're trying to convey to that audience. Otherwise, it doesn't hit the target the way you expected it to. So where did we use that in school? Why do we all already know how to do it but just forget it when we become adults? Spelling bees, the study of linguistics, psychology, philosophy. All of those things required initially research at first, and then debate, because after you research something, there's going to be a debate. There are going to be people who either try to educate you on something you missed. They try to convince you of whether or not it's useful or helpful anymore, or either they are going to express their opinion of what you found and whether you should say it and keep going or not. There's a thing called hard sciences, and these are the things that prove themselves. That's a lot of the things that you can't question. So that's math. There's, chemistry, all of the things that have been proven and worked through. And so that there's no question about it. We now just take it for what it is. You just memorize it. You don't have to know the intricate details of it unless you need to, unless you're in that field. But we should not forget the soft sciences. There's a whole lot of people focused on getting Black kids into STEM careers, and those would be the hard sciences. And that's needed, but we also need Black people in the soft sciences too. So since y'all got the STEM careers covered, I will talk to people about getting involved in the soft sciences. We need Black philosophers. We need Black therapists. We need Black social workers. We need Black life coaches, because who else can coach you in life, right? we need one of everything. And so y'all have that one, and I will just do this one. And if there's anybody who would like to join, go ahead, right? It's basically so back to the debating skills, right? That is how you translate your voice to other people. You have to be able to communicate it to other people, and that's why grammar is important. You can't go overseas and talk to somebody else whose English is not their first language, and because they've learned English as a second language in terms of grammar. So you can't do that if you want to be effective. So just to think about that. We need black novelists, black English teachers, black poets. We have those, right? We need some more. Who's going to talk about what's happening in 2019? We got all of the poems from in the past. What's happening now? We got to tell the future. We got to tell them through poems and, everything. Something other than song. Written word. The last two things. One, after you are able to research and read somebody else's research, and then once you're able to debate those things, the second thing that we overlook that we cannot afford to anymore is character. The character of a person does matter. It's a difference between one thing that was just either it needed to happen for a reason at that moment, or a pervasive pattern in this person's life and choices. We can forgive mistakes, but mistakes can become that person's character. And character can change with the right motivation. But we have to know what it is, what to look for, and how to separate character from just, small choices, right? So this is a person's tendencies, their interests. Where does their mind go when they're left to their own devices? This is determined either by your mental, the things you think about, the things that you remember, or either your morals. That's why we have church and religion. And those people that are not religious, if they're spiritual, and atheists too. That's their moral code. Their moral code is one that there isn't such a higher power as we know it to be. Something happened, but what difference does it make? I don't know whether there is a higher power or not. And then no, that's agnostic. Agnostic doesn't know either way, but atheists, they feel like, no, just make your choices. So they need to know how to determine somebody's character too. Information, you have to have a ticket, I think. This is how I view it. So in terms of information, right? When you are interacting with somebody, how do you get information about their character? It's kind of like a ticket that you get, and it's a ticket to inside of you and into your world through either your senses or actions. So if you're next to somebody and you feel a certain way, or you think about certain things, that's their character, that's part of it, and that's how they enter into your world. That's how they get in. The company you keep is secondary to what you do. There are people that are known for hanging around people that are not of good character. Their character is first, not the choice for them to hang out with those people. That's second. First is their character. What do we know about this person? What are their tendencies, their interests, right? And then whoever they're around. Birds of a feather flock together. Yeah. But first, the choice was for them to have their feather to match those. They could have chose a different feather, or they could have sprouted different feathers. The point is, their actions, their behaviors is first. And then that way you know why they're hanging around this bad crowd. Is that a person who has to because they need a family, kind of like, gang members? Or is this a person that just was going to choose that anyway because they think it's fun? It also lets us know who do we think we can talk to before you approach them and who you can't. So the company is secondary, but it's the first thing that's noticed. We don't know anything about people's character until we see them out, and then who we see them out with. I'm saying that so that when you see people and they're hanging out with somebody, that you can ask a question. Respectfully asking questions, not accusing people, not attacking people, not, owning people. Just ask a question. So you notice the company first, their character you notice second after you ask them questions, and then you hold the character in a higher regard, and then the company that they keep. That's exactly why questions were invented. So just out of curiosity, I wonder what life was like before words, right? Well, then you weren't able to ask these questions, and then you had to show people your character through the people you hang out with and your actions. The point is, it still mattered. Do you guys think that you could live silently for one day? Just not saying anything? If not, then now you know the importance of why your words matter and choosing your words appropriately and including all the words to get the conversation across. The fourth thing that we overlook, and it's important and we need to stop overlooking, is abuse. Abuse and lies. If a person lies once, they lie, more than once. Now, does everybody lie? Yes. But why? Why is this person lying, and what is the specific lie? That matters. We need to not overlook those things. Basically, we need to be able to talk to one another more. We don't need to just write people off. That's not from us. It's hard. It's against nature to have somebody that's like you and you don't like them and you need to be separate from them. So that is something that's outside of us, and we can fix that. We can change that going forward. In terms of abuse, it's something that is wrong. It's the use of something for purposes it was not intended. Like off-label uses of stuff, right? You're on your own if you do it that way. The person who made it and they intended it a certain way, if you do something different, if you live to tell a story, we got feedback, and now we can start the research, then the debate, and then figuring out the character part of that, and then, but you're on your own if it doesn't. If it doesn't work out, you now are on your own and you need to handle those consequences. It's wasteful. And if anything is wasteful, then that means it's expensive, and we as a people can't afford abuse and lies anymore. It's damaging, which means that we don't like it. It's time to get honest about the fact that we don't like being abused. We don't like when people lie to us. No one does. No one likes that. So we don't have to say anymore, oh, I'm bigger than that. It's fine. It's not fine. It's not okay, because it does have an impact. Abuse and lies, you guys know it's wrong. You know it's evil because it's usually hidden. Unless, the person feels like they can get away with it or nobody can stop them. So if it's hidden, if it's something you have to hide, then that means you know that you shouldn't be doing it, and it probably fits into one of those two categories. When you are attempting to get away with abuse and lies, that's going to require a network of people who are okay with malfeasance. And why would you want to surround yourself with that and not think that it's going to end negative? You're going to feel negative and you're going to get negative results. And at that moment, no one should have to listen to all of that. So just not doing it up front. Unless, in terms of lies, there's no reason for abuse. But in terms of lies, what's the reason and what is the lie that you used? Okay, so last thing about each one of these things. So abuse and lies, we all know, right? Those are the things that we want to get rid of. In terms of research, debate, and character, we don't want to get rid of those. We want to keep those, but we want to start using them right. So when you're thinking about research, you have more than one chance to be heard in terms of research, right? Every time somebody does a study, when they come out with a study, this study now shows that black people, blah, 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 whatever, right? That person, before the debate, there's still peer review. There's people who are, or at least it should be, the studies that we laugh people out of town for and they're absolutely wrong and this person is like shunned and infamous in their field or whatever, those are the ones that didn't have the peer reviews. Nobody checked it. They don't have any statistics to back it up. They just said it and then did something that was self-fulfilling, and then now they want to tote this out here for everybody else, and it usually has a reason behind it that's selfish. There's the character part, right? So anyway, we have more than one chance to be heard. So if you didn't do the first study, they do census every 10 years. If you didn't do the first one, then if it's a good research study, then there were other people who came along and tried to repeat it. And I mean us all together as a whole, not individual people specifically, just us as a culture. There's a lot of time that elapses, and I just really find it hard to believe that we as a culture were never asked anything. We were never observed. That's just not feasible. So when you're thinking about research, you have to think about, is it valid? Meaning, is it true? Did it prove what it said it was going to prove? Is their results true? Is it accurate? Or is there something that they didn't pay attention to which skewed the results? In order to know if something is valid, it has to be defined, it's going to be tested and critiqued. And then if you get an answer to yes to all three of those, then yes, we can say that it's valid. Second, is it reliable? Which means, are the results consistent? Does it last throughout time? Is it inclusive? Is it everybody, or is it exclusive? No one is doing it. Is it specific? Is it general? Is there a subset of people? Across time, it has to be, well, it happened then, it happens now, and it will happen later. And that's when we move into the hard sciences. In terms of soft sciences, do we feel this way? Are we leaning this way? It allows for a little bit of leeway. Debate. Discussions permeate all of our life areas, every last one of them. You're going to have to talk about something at some point. You can't avoid it. Anytime there's a debate, it indicates like a change. Some change is being introduced. So if you're in the middle of a debate, you should feel honored, and you should use that opportunity to be heard. You should use that opportunity to speak your piece. We need to know. We need to know why. So that's your chance to, participate. These also have, sorry, I got sidetracked. So so the three reasons for debate, right? One, you're trying to educate someone, and that is usually about the past. What should we learn from the past? What happened back then? Is this the right answer? Is this what that was for? Is this the cause and effect of that? So we're educating on the past, and you either accuse someone of something or you defend someone for something. The present. That is where we try to convince. So in terms of educating, you're either going to accept whatever it was that the person came in with, or you're going to reject it. Second, we're talking about the present tense. And that means, what should we keep? What should we take from the discussion today? And it usually has to do with what's available, what's around us, the environment or resources. This is where you are supporting something that's happening now, or it's where you're withdrawing something. You don't want your support for it. And that helps you to learn if things are helpful or if it's a hindrance. And finally, when you express something, you are talking about the future. And these are usually, there are exceptions, but this is a good starting place. When you express your opinion, your belief, your thoughts, that is when you're telling somebody whether something is good or bad. That is where you're telling somebody if you like or desire something, if you dislike or if you abhor something. I have trouble pronouncing that word. In terms of the future, what we should take from that discussion is, well, what should we do? What will we be doing? What will we have? What will we be? What will we feel? And it's usually about the quality of something. Do we want to do this line of actions because this is what's going to happen later? Is that going to be something that we like? So I think that my goal for this is to help everybody understand why. Understand why these things were overlooked, why they're important, and why they shouldn't be overlooked going forward. Character. Well, okay, so y'all have heard this sentence, nothing new under the sun, right? Which means there's only a certain amount of available character traits. I haven't counted them, and that's not the point. There is nothing new under the sun, but the expression of it does look different based on what you're using to do it. Some things on the planet just haven't been discovered yet. They haven't been discovered or explored yet. So what that means is it's not necessarily new, but you may not be familiar with it, so you should probably listen when people are talking. We have yet to reach certain people. There are still some people in our culture that have not been touched yet. I'm helping. This is my contribution to that. The reason I think that's important is because the world does not have to end badly. It doesn't. We just aren't paying attention to the fact that there are other available choices. We say that we're one thing and we are not committed and devoted to being that thing. So another sentence I don't like hearing people say is the world is evil. No, the world is. We're doing evil things with it. So that's why I think that we can change all of this. That's an excuse. It's not a reason. It's not a reason because there is an alternative. Alternatives exist. And if they don't, then you can create one, or either you need to stop whining. Then that means the world isn't evil. By definition, if the world is, then whatever it is, if we have to do it and there's no alternative, then that's not evil. It just exists. Before I move on. So, when we hear people that say that the world is evil, I feel like that's not effective speech, because alternatives exist and you're ignoring something because you probably have used that alternative in other areas of life. So, I feel like at that moment, that's when you are just being inauthentic. I feel when talking to Black people is that we are capable. We are. We can start today. And so what we need going forward, and what I hope that I'm able to give you with this video and this channel, hope, trust, and faith. All right. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and end this video. And if you have any ideas, you can post them down below. But otherwise, we'll start learning some more tomorrow. Bye.